Hello and welcome to the Real Life Show. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jonathan. This is a platform where we get to engage, interact, and learn from icons, gurus, moguls, trendsetters, trailblazers, difference makers, and world changers. You know what I'm talking about. And sitting next to me is a special individual. He is multi-skilled, like many personalities in one, right? Like he's a businessman, he's a pharmacist, he's a speaker, he's an entrepreneur, he's what else? We'll get into details. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm simply talking about Mr. Daniel Kabani, aka DNK. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm humbled to be here.
Great.
Yeah.
And you're a man who's done massive things, great stuff, but you carry yourself with so much humility. How do you do that? How do you manage to do that?
You know why I'm laughing? It's because at one point a friend of mine was saying that. Then I told him to say, you should be careful. You might remove the little humility I have.
Yeah.
But you know, I think one of the things that helped me, for me, is there are words that Isaac Newton said when somebody was asking him about his outstanding great innovations, great discoveries of the laws of motion. And he says, how do you feel about these great accomplishments? And Isaac Newton says, you see, I see myself as a child playing by the seashore who happens to pick a pebble, not a precious, actually picks a pebble, and ahead of him lies a vast horizon of an ocean that lies undiscovered.
Wow.
So he says, wow, you people might think what I have done is great. I see it as somebody who picks a pebble, but think of the ocean that remains undiscovered.
Wow. Great.
And I think that's what should always humble us. Whatever we have achieved, there's more to be achieved.
Great.
Whatever we know, there is much more to be known, such that when you compare the knowledge of what one knows against what one could know, what we know would not make even a 1%.
Amazing. Now, this is one thing that is amazing about this man. Too much data, knowledge, information, and that's what I love about him, right? Now, let's talk about your upbringing. Run us through, first of all, where you were born and your background, school background, and things like that, just briefly.
I was born in Senanga.
Yeah.
Some years back. Raspiapiola.
Great.
So I was born in Senanga. Years back, born at Senanga District Hospital, which is now Senanga General Hospital. But my parents were not staying in Senanga. They were staying on the peripherals of Senanga, almost the border of Senanga and Shangombo District, in a rural place called Stoti. There's a mission school that is there, Stoti Mission School. It's a school run by Adventists. So mom and dad were teaching there. So that I was born in Senanga just at the hospital, but I would say I was born in Stoti. Currently, it is under Sioma district. Born from there, did my grade 1 to grade 3 from there. It was a very rural setting then, where there was not even one shop. I didn't know what a shop was from 0 to grade 3 there. No tarmac. The only cars you'd see is either police, health, or education, which would pass maybe once and then this UBZ bus or something like that, which would pass once in a while. So did up to grade 3, then grade 3 mom and dad got a transfer to Senanga now, which is a little town. The district. So we moved to there. Then I spent my whole life in Senanga up to grade 12. Did my grade 12 and then I left for Lusaka. When I completed my grade 12, I applied for at NIPA, at NRDC, Evelyn Horn and UNZA. So I got admitted at NIPA, Horn and NRDC. UNZA results didn't come out as early. So I had the option of where I should go. So I went to NRDC. But 6 months later, the results for UNZA came out. I was accepted. So I left NRDC, went to UNZA. And then I was there at UNZA, moved to the School of Medicine, did my bachelor's of pharmacy, completed, worked with UTH for a year. After that, I resigned and went into academia because I got a scholarship to do my master's at UNZA in human anatomy, then went into lecturing. So taught in a few colleges, also Apex and UNZA, taught there. Then 2017, I went into business full-time. And then since then to today, it has been business. So in a nutshell, that's how my life has been.
Amazing, amazing. Now, you are from a humble background. You rarely used to see vehicles moving around. Where did you get this idea of becoming successful in life? You're not exposed to success when you were in Senanga. Where did the mindset come from of just conquering the world, achieving something and becoming a great person?
Okay. I think when I was in, especially Stoti, grade 3, grade 0 to 3, I and my siblings were not exposed to success physically, but we were exposed to success mentally.
Wow.
Yes, and which I think is the greater exposure than the physical exposure. You see, there's a book by John Snyder, which is Highways to Learning. In there, he writes that a man could be limited to a place, but travel the whole world if he's willing to read.
Bombs, ladies and gentlemen.
So, and this is the secret that my parents did. I was registered at a small library we had at that little school. The very first day I was taken to school. Actually, I was registered before starting school. And I've been a member of the library since then up to now. So while physically we could not see upstairs because there was no upstairs buildings there, in the books we had seen them. There was no airport there, but we had seen the aeroplanes.
Wow.
There was no great things you could look to, but we had seen them. So mental exposure is the greatest thing that our parents gave us. I'll tell you for a fact that I came to know of great people while I was in primary school.
Wow.
I had read the biography of Benjamin Franklin while I was in primary school from the library my father had. Before I reached grade 7, before I went to grade 9, I had heard of Plato, I had heard of Aristotle, I had heard of Socrates, I had heard of Ellen Keller, I had heard of Sigmund Freud, I had heard of all these great men, Galileo Galilei, you know, Archimedes and his Eureka experiments. This was the language around home with my uncles because we had a library at home. Mom and dad being teachers, they forced everybody to develop an appetite for reading. So we would have these conversations. For example, I knew about the laws of density and Archimedes' experiment of when you went into a bathtub, water came out. Before I learned that in grade 8 and 9 about density. We had read about how Archimedes was sinking the ships of the Greeks using reflection of mirrors while we were young people. We had read, I knew about guys like Martin Luther, the reformer, Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, and all those guys. Thomas Edison was my greatest. At home, we're doing a lot of experimentation with electric motors and what, because we're inspired by men like Thomas Edison, the greatest inventor of the
years.
Through the books. So that is what gave us an appetite. When I was in Senanga in grade 8 up to grade 12, I used to motivate my friends about UNZA, which I had never seen. And you know, they would come and sit and listen like I've been there. And I'll tell them, guys, we used to go there. So I'd written in the corner of my class to say, UNZA suspect. But it was this mental exposure. That's why I truly believe that any people, any person, if we can mentally expose them, they can rise to greatness.
Now, I have a question for you. Most of the great people that we see today, the likes of, let me not mention their names, but most of the great people that have got amazing stories, if you check their educational background, they were not A students. They're college dropouts. You know, people were struggling with classes and subjects and things like that. Were you an A student back in school?
At some point.
At some point?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll tell you that from grade 1 to grade 12, and not only grade 12, up to UNZA, first year, I was an A student.
Okay.
So I was the best at grade 7. I was Actually, I did not do grade 1 to grade 7. I did grade 1 to 6. I wrote my grade 7 in grade 6 and was the second in the whole district.
Wow.
So I did my school in 11 years. I was the best at grade 9 and grade 12. Those of my peers who were the best in Zambia, they would know me.
Wow.
Because I came for competitions here in Lusaka. 2003, I went to Mpelembe High School to compete at the national level, representing Western Province in junior mathematics. I was back here in the following year when I was in grade 10, representing Western Province in biology. I was here in grade 12, representing Western Province in quiz. So I was here representing Western Province in debate. And I left my school as the best student. I went to UNZA, and NS for me was easy. I performed, I was in the top cream of NS. That's how I found myself at the School of Medicine in pharmacy, because, you know, when you find yourself going to the School of Medicine to study either medicine or pharmacy, it means in my time, and even now I think, you are in the top 100 of the School of Medicine, of the School of Natural Sciences, that also takes the best. And you should be in the top 100. We were 1,200 first years when I came to UNZA. In NS, all of them the best from where they came from. But when I went to the School of Medicine, something changed. Firstly, I should tell you that I was disappointed with the education system when I came to UNZA.
Of which, that's what I wanted to come to.
Yes.
Because I've heard you say there's a problem with our education system. You went through that system.
Yes.
You graduated through that system. Now you are, let me not say criticizing, but there's something that you're pointing out, which is wrong with our educational system, and our mindset. I've heard things that you've said before, like we're taught how to read and not how to think. Can you talk about that a little?
That's true. So when I came to UNZA, I'll tell you that I was disappointed. I came to the University of Zambia as a young inventor. I'd invented a number of things. Projects that went far, on many things that I had invented through JETS competitions and everything. When I was coming to UNZA, in the School of Natural Sciences in particular, I was thinking we're coming to become scientists that will discover things. Yes. That will discover things, that will make things, that will contribute to the science and innovation of this country. There is nothing like that. Anybody who has gone through UNZA, through the School of Natural Sciences, would know this. The whole of first year, we were just put in a marathon of memorizing things, calculating things, and passing with no direction. And I've gone through that system, and I'm saying so. I did not fail my NS. I was on the top list of students. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone to the School of Medicine. So somebody might think, oh, maybe this guy was struggling in NS. I wasn't. I was top performing. I was an A+, B+ student. That's how I went to the other side. But I was not happy with the system. We went in there, we were doing labs that were done by guys before us, which we didn't understand. Some would use what was called crooks, photocopy things and do that. At the end of the first year, what did I learn? Little. I'll tell you that an average graduate who has come out of the School of Natural Sciences cannot remember what he learned in first year. I did calculus in first year. Right now, I cannot differentiate or integrate. That information is gone because it was of no applicable value. I did quantum mechanics. I can't remember any of that. Why did I have to learn that? And many other things that we did in there. So I realized, I thought at UNZA, we would have, and when UNZA here is representative of all institutions, because God has blessed me in that I've been a student at UNZA, I've been a student at NRDC, I am currently a student at NIPA and a student at UNILAS, I've been a student at Apex, and I've been a student at CBU. So I have sampled out Zambia education and I understand it very well. And I've had the privilege of teaching at Evelyn Hall, at UNZA, at Apex, at Cavendish, at Davcott. So I've been both on the side of learning and on the side of teaching. And I understand this system very well. We went to the School of Medicine. I was hoping that when we reach there equally, we'll begin looking at drug development, drug discoveries and what. We were just bombarded with information to memorize. Now, I'll tell you that an intelligent, creative mind will not buy into that. It is boring to memorize facts. So that what happens? We had lecturers, for example, who would want you to produce word for word their handout in an exam. Then they'll tick you and say A+ student intelligent. Is that a measure of intelligence? Now, anybody who has learned about education, especially from the teaching side, which we call pedagogy, would know that in the system of learning, one of the leading theories in there is what was propounded by a certain scholar who is called Professor Bloom. He was an American educationist. Professor Bloom proposed what currently is called Bloom's taxonomy of learning. This is a system that shows how learning happens in a human being. Okay. And in there they classify that there is superficial learning and deep learning. Superficial learning, in there is what is called rote memory, memorizing things. Superficial learning does not produce innovation. It does not produce research. Superficial learning is regurgitation of facts. I come and tell you that Shaka was killed this day, he was born this day, I'm giving you facts, you memorize them. You are a superficial learner and there's little you do with those facts. But superficial learning is important because as you get the facts, then you should move to deep learning. What is deep learning? Deep learning happens at a level of synthesis, at the level of asking why. Superficial learning asks what or when. When did this happen? You state a fact. When did what? You state a fact. What is the name of this bone? You say maxilla. What is the name of this bone? Mandible. Superficial learning. Deep learning asks why and how. These questions, you don't get them even at UNZA. If you go in the school of medicine, much of the questions that come are what? Name part A. Yeah. What is the what? That's superficial learning. Deep learning goes to the why. Why questions don't ask for you to regurgitate what you have memorized. Why questions ask you to think and give an explanation. It is when people begin to think that they create products and innovate. This is what our learning institutions should promote. That is why we always ask and say, why is it that the graduates of Africa are producing nothing, but the graduates of the other side are producing things? They have learned what and when. The other side, they have learned how and why. That is deep learning. That is what I am passionate about.
I don't know if I'm gonna ask a lot of questions right here. This is turning into a lecture home. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is deep. Now, what triggered your journey of entrepreneurship?
My journey of entrepreneurship comes from where it was not really entrepreneurship, it was survival. You know, now entrepreneurship is fun. Yes. And fancy. So you know, I'm an entrepreneur. We started entrepreneurship when entrepreneurs were thought as people who have failed school. Then they do that. Even the word entrepreneurship is latest to Zambia. We used to call just people businessmen. Now, my family has always enterprised. I think I learned the first skills of entrepreneurship from mom and dad. When we were young, in that place of Stoti where there was no shop, the first cantemba in that place was put by mom and dad.
Wow.
Selling sweets, packaged the sugar, cooking oil and things like that. And we were kids with my older brother. We are the ones who collapsed that business. We used to steal sweets. We used to go and drink the toy drinks. I remember one time with my older brother, mom and dad used to hide the toy drinks in a certain place. Now we said, if we open the packs and drink, they will know. What do? We went and would bite the toy drink at the corner and sip and sip. So they came and said, no, I think it's rats that are drinking. The rat is drinking toy drink. But from there, even when we moved to Sananga, mom and dad always did some little business. I'll tell you that I've done much in business. When I mean much is little small businesses. And at an early age, mom and dad removed the feeling of shame in us. You know, most Zambian youths would not sell. Yes. They are ashamed to be on a stand. They are ashamed to sell what? I've sold mangoes. Children of high school teachers, and you know, high school teachers then were doing fine. Children of high school teachers with my elder brother, my young brother, push a wheelbarrow. We had 8 mango trees, load in a wheelbarrow, go to the market, put a sack. With women coming from the compounds, we put there and we're selling. Mom and dad believed that every December holiday, by the end of it, from you selling your own mangoes, you should have bought yourself a uniform, shoes, and books. They never bought us this.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
So we learned to sell. Mom would bake scones. When I was in high school, break time, we ran home to go and pick each one a bowl of scones, fritters. We rushed back to there was a tree which was a market at the center of our high school, and we go and sell. I sold ice blocks. I've sold salaula. I have sold fried fish in a dining school. Dining school, in your senior secondary grades. Your friends are there, the girls are there. You're moving around with a tray with fried fish selling. So at an early age, they taught us that. So even when I came at UNZA, when I was at UNZA, business now had just become a part of us. So I decided to start my first business at UNZA with my elder brother. I think you have seen those printers that are seated in the corner there. At the other corner, there are some small printers that are there. There's a Lexmark printer that is there. That was the first printer that I bought. I had bought it for that time for 400 kwacha, I think, with my older brother. We started a business. He had a camera. He takes pictures. We print them. We go and give. And we didn't even know because we made so much losses. But that was the first business. In UNZA, I was playing cat and mouse with Dosa. Because UNZA does not allow, and these are the things I'm talking about, that our system should change. And because UNZA is the benchmark, every other institution takes its instructions from there.
Follows through,
When you get your instructions of being at UNZA, the very first day you report, they'll give you a bunch of rules. One of the things written there is you are not allowed to do business here at UNZA. So here is 4 years, 5 years, 7 years for medicine, formative years in which a young person must develop entrepreneurship skills. He's not allowed to sell. A room will be taken from you if actually DOSA can prove that you have been doing business. So I started printing there. I would put my posters. The DOSA people, dean of students, will come and remove them. The next day I'll go and book, they'll come and remove. One day they came to my room and said, should we find your posters again on the notice board, we'll evict you from the room.
Wow.
That's how I changed my business at UNZA to beginning selling fish and village chickens. So I would get from my BC money, the allowance, the meal allowance, send back home. Mom and dad would buy fish for me and fish and village chicken, put in a cooler box, send for me. I used to supply the canteen, that is at Ridgeway, when I was at Ridgeway, with village chicken and fish. I used to supply Fajema, that restaurant in Evelyn Horn, with fish and chicken. I used to supply the canteen in Nipa with fish and chicken. And it was just like a small business. So people should not think that now he was big. No, just little money. So that is what inspired the journey.
Quite a long journey right there. I'm just amazed. Now, let's do this. You have come from a background, very humble background, and now you're a successful entrepreneur. What do you think are the 3 major keys that opens the door to success?
Number 1 is accept your situation and be conscious of your situation. What I mean by accepting is not to accept a mediocre life. But what I mean is you need to come to a point where you say, I'm a poor man, or I am struggling, or I'm not educated. You know, I'm going to tell you something that in the art of medicine, an assessment that is done of a person who is mad when they present at Chainama is to realize whether they are aware that they are mad or not. A mad person who knows that they are mad or that they have a mental problem stands, by practice and experience and research, stands a better chance of being cured from his madness than a mad person who does not know that they're mad. So one of the questions that is asked when you present a Chinama is, why do you think you are here? Somebody will say, I think I have a problem, or I'm sick, something in my head. There's hope for such a one. Others, you say, what is the problem? Why are you here? They say, no, I'm here on vacation to come and relax with the president. Then you know there's little hope. It is the principle of life. The first movement towards changing your life is realizing the point at which you are. Once you realize the point at which you are, then you go to the second part. Then you ask yourself, what then must I do? This is a great question. For those who read the Bible, they would know that people who changed their lives in the Bible, that's the question they asked. They came to Paul and Silas and said, men and brethren, what must we do to be saved? The soldier who was watching over Paul when they were in there singing, after he found that the gate has opened, they have not run away, said, what must I do? Any person who asked, even the young ruler came to Jesus and said, what must I do? That is the point at which your life changes. So after you have realized exactly where you are, don't fake your life. You realize, I'm not educated, I don't have a good job, I am poor, this is my situation. Then you ask and say, now what must I do to move from here to where I want to be? That is why I normally encourage young people and say, young people must develop the habit of sitting and doing nothing but thinking. And this is rare in this generation. People are too busy with the superficial life. Sometimes it's like we blind ourselves to our realities by the many videos that are on Facebook. So you move from one video to another video to another video to avoid coming in contact with your real situation.
Wow.
From soccer to beer to women to whatever, occupying yourself so that you do not meet the reality of your life. But you need to sit and say, this is my situation, then what must I do? Now, to answer that question of what you must do, you can either answer it by thinking, you can answer it by reading, you can answer it by associating with those that are what you want to be. Because they have been where you are, but you have not been where they are. And the challenge there is an average Zambian youth hates the people that he should be learning from. Hates on the people that he should be drawing inspiration from. We see this a lot on Facebook. I think you are here now, you see what is here and everything we are doing. There are young people who think we are doing nothing, who think we are masquerades, who think we don't have anything to our name. Unless maybe you put a bank statement on Facebook, and you look at them and you think these young people can learn a lot from me or a lot from another person, but they'll be there criticizing. What do you know? But the person who is saying, what do you know, is still struggling with GCE. What do you have? So, when you ask yourself, what must I do? The next question is either think how you should get to that point. Read. There are many books on almost anything to move you from where you are to the next level, or associate with the people that you would want to be like. After you have learned the process, the hardest part comes. And the hardest part is the doing, because the doing will require sacrifice. In my own journey, I'll tell you that 2017 was a realization. You know why it was a realization? My employee decided not to pay me. Refused to pay me. Not only me, but everybody was working there. Because it was rumored that one of us was also working somewhere else. Then they said, we will not pay all of you until we establish who this person is.
The Judas within the team.
And at that point, I realized I had nothing.
Wow.
So I decided to say, I'll go and look for another job, but I'll do two things. On one side, I'll be doing my job. On the other side, I'll be building a business. And I said, what must I do It was answered. Get a job, start a business.
Yeah.
And I said, where do I learn about a business? So I started reading and started interacting with friends that were doing business and learning. Then I realized the sacrifices that were there. And the first sacrifice I made was to sell my car.
Wow.
I had a Kalitu car then, BMW 318. It was one of the most happening cars. White one. Some people will remember it. I sold that car to come and start this business here.
Wow.
Here where we are seated, I used to sleep there. There was nothing in this room. I used to sleep here. There was nothing in this whole office. These expensive drops, I don't know whatever they are called, that you are seeing here. There were no curtains on these windows. The first curtains I had in here were given to me by my sister-in-law, the wife to my elder brother. They were kitchen curtains with laces, and thank you to her for being that good. But it was two of them. That window, this one, there was nothing. In the evening, what gave me privacy here was switching off the lights. But I sold the car. You must bear the cross. And this is where many young people miss it, because very few are willing to endure the pain and the grinding. I'll tell you that when I started in here, I was the only employee. Later on, my wife came in as my girlfriend there, and she used to come here and work with me. You see, I keep those 4 stools there. It is to remind me of where all this started from. Because the first chair I had in here was a stool that was given to me by my elder brother.
Wow.
That's the one I used to sit in. When a client comes, I stand, the client sits. Nothing that looked anything serious. We didn't have this furniture. We didn't have all this machinery and equipment that you are seeing in here. The sacrifice had to be made, such that one of the days when I was working in UTH, I met one of my former classmates. He said, "You are an embarrassment and a shame to the profession." He said, "Where on earth have you ever seen a pharmacist walking around the way you are doing?" So that's the process. Analyze your life, accept as it is, then decide you're going to change. Ask yourself, what must I do? Read, think, interact with those that know. After they have shown you the formula, sacrifice and work very hard. If you're going to be consistent, there is no person. There's something I like in a book. I think this is a book by James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. In there, there's Brian Trace who writes in one of the books. He says, a man cannot move within and remain still without. Irrespective of where you are and who you are and what you have, once you decide that your mind shifts to a next level of exposure, a next level of competence, your external world will have no option but to follow your mind where it has gone.
Great. Now, we need a workshop for this. So I'm going to ask you some real life questions that I ask all my guests.
Sure.
That will require quick answers.
Okay.
So you are a leader. What did you say is your leadership style like?
My leadership style is that I will not do anything for you that I believe you can do. Wow. All my staff here know.
Great. What are your core values in life?
Integrity, truthfulness, openness, hard work, consistency, and diligence.
Awesome. Driving forces in life?
I hate poverty and suffering. Anyway, that's one of them. But the key one is, I strongly believe that we have all been created for impact.
Great. What would you say is your biggest failure in life, and how do you learn from it?
2013, invested 150,000 kwacha in a business. Exactly less than a year, I had lost all that money, and that money was a loan.
Wow.
That was one of my greatest failure. I learned that when you get in business, when you invest in a business without the knowledge of that business, you will come out from that business with nothing except the lessons of what not to do. in that business. That was the greatest lesson. Another failure, third year of university, I failed and got excluded from the university. But a miracle, God worked. I was recalled back and later on graduated. What I learned there was that don't associate with jokers because my room was full of, now these are some of my former classmates, but they are changed guys now. So guys, wherever you are, you know that you were once jokers, but now you are serious. The whole time we'll just be arguing politics. Until in that room, we were 5 of us. We used to argue. The only guy who cleared is my close friend, Blower. Now he's a lecturer at Unza School of Medicine. Brilliant guy. But he cleared with my CCC. The next guy got a repeat. The other guy got supplementary exams. So this one clears with C's. The next guy clears with supplementary exams. The next guy is put on repeat. Then the last 2, me and the other guy got excluded. Wow. So from there, what I learned is associate with people that have a clear vision of what they want in their life.
Wow. Wow. Now, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment in life so far?
My biggest accomplishment in life is being able to impact people's lives.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Getting to a point where you develop a certain level of influence, positive influence that can change people's lives.
Awesome.
That is my greatest accomplishment.
The most important thing in life you've learned so far?
It is to realize that there is life beyond this life. And therefore, you must have an eternal consciousness to your activities.
Great.
Because beyond this life, there will be a day of reward and a day of accounting.
Awesome. If you were to meet 3 people in life, have dinner with them, dead or alive, would they be and why?
That's a very hard question because I have quite a number of people. But I think one of them is Strive Masiwa.
Okay.
He's a great inspiration to me. Strive Masiwa, is it only alive or even those who are dead?
Even those who are dead, yes.
Okay, alive, I would pick Strive Masiwa. I would pick Ben Carson, and probably I would pick Obama. I would have loved to meet this. Of those that are dead, I think I would love to meet Steve Biko. I would love to meet Thomas Sankara. I may love to meet Martin Luther King, and I may love to meet Shaka.
So when I was interviewing Dumisani, when I asked him this question, Strive was there, Obama was there. Why? Is it because you're friends?
No, you know, that's the power of association. Once you are friends, you tend to think alike.
Great.
You begin to see each other in the other person. You begin to talk the same way because we become, by beholding, we are changed. Association is what builds us.
Great. What do you think has made you exceptional? I know there are a lot of pharmacists out there.
Sure.
But you stand out. What do you think has made you
There's a scripture that my father made us to memorize when we were young. And he says, the scripture is in Proverbs. I think it's Proverbs 10. It says, have you seen a man diligent in his work? He will stand before kings and not before common men. Dad kept drumming that in our minds. Mom made it practical by saying, if I've given you to sweep, it is either you will sweep excellently or not sweep at all.
Wow.
So the family work ethics that we have is either you do it excellently or you don't even do it at all.
Yeah. Great.
Don't be mediocre. So that has been engraved in us. I do not associate with mediocrity. I give anything I do 100%.
Wow. Awesome. This man is too much, man. This man is too much. Now, on a lighter note, what do you do in your free time?
In my free time, well, I love to spend time with my wife. Okay. By the way, I should mention that I'm a husband of one beautiful wife. Yes, and I love to spend time with my wife. She's an exceptional lady. Yeah. So it's either I'm working. If I'm not working, then I am with my wife. I rarely have what I may call free time. Okay. Yes, I rarely. So, but then when we have free time, we love to travel with my wife. So we gallivant around.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. And what's your favorite meal?
My favorite meal. I think, but I'm a shima guy. I actually eat shima for breakfast.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, it's a principle of health.
Okay.
It's a principle of health. Okay. You should have a heavy meal in the morning and a light meal in the evening. Okay? And it prepares your mind. Yeah. It prepares your body and everything. So I'm a shima guy. Where I come from, in Western Province, rice is for people who are starving. Actually, not only weak, but starving. Yeah. There's a lot of rice. So when I came in Lusaka, I was shocked that people think eating rice is happening. Fancy, yeah. I'm like, yeah. So, shima kapenda.
Great. Favorite book of all time, apart from the Bible?
Highways to Learning.
Okay.
John Snyder.
Great.
Followed by As a Man Thinketh. James Allen. Yes. These two books, you will not read them and remain the same.
Awesome. Viewers out there who get to be inspired by DNK, what are your last words to them?
Okay. I normally love to take the scripture of Jesus in John 14 who says, believe in God, believe in me also. Yeah. I try to reinterpret that and say, in this life, you believe in God, and God there, it might be God, Jesus, whatever you believe, but also believe in yourself. What I mean is this, friends. Every one of us, beginning with the person who really feels that God gave them the last of abilities and talents, and you have very little gifts or talents. If you dedicated your life to refining your talents and your skills, to equipping especially your mind, you will not remain the same. I want you to know that the physical world is a product of the mental world. And the good thing is that the mental world is acquired. None of us is born with great ideas. None of us is really born with all these things. But by interaction, by reading, by exposing yourself to programs like this one, I should mention that this is very positive that you are doing.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, God should bless you. You are doing you are creating a difference. You are providing an alternative to the junk that we are mostly exposed to when we go on social media. Yeah. Expose your mind to content that changes your thinking. You cannot move to the next level until your thinking has gone to the next level. If we are to force your body to the next level and yet your mind is on the previous level, nature has the way of bringing you back to your lane where you belong. So go out there and make the best of yourself because you can be that best.
Wow. I don't know what to say. My mind is blown because I haven't asked the questions I needed to ask. But this man right here was just dropping bombs right here. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we do on the Real Life Show. We'll bring you the best of the best. So stay safe, keep watching the Real Life Show, and God bless you. Peace.
Hi, this is Daniel Kabani, the CEO of DNK Group. I want you to follow the Real Life Show because this is a platform that provides inspiration for you. Jonathan has gone all the way to get the best of what this nation has in terms of people that can impact your life. Just by interacting with him, I've been highly impacted, and I am a keen follower of this show and I continue to learn so much from it. So I encourage you to like the page, to follow, to share, and to invite all your friends and your family, the people you love, that will get impacted by this show.